So hi, how are you?
Good. How are
Good, how are you?
you?
I'm doing well, thanks. I watched The Wrath of Becky the other day and absolutely loved it.
It's
Yay.
good. That's amazing.
That
It's
makes-
always like
yeah.
every time someone says they watched it,
You're like,
wait till they say whether they liked it or not.
yeah. Yay.
Um, is it okay if I just jump right into my questions?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So this is not your first time working together. How did your collaboration come to be and what keeps you coming back to work together?
Well, we
Who is he?
we're
We're
married.
married. So there's that. But we met through our dads actually. I had just graduated college, so we were both in our 20s, early 20s, and I was working in development. He was working with another writing partner, and we started dating. And at night we'd start writing together. And we were essentially like, well, let's see if this relationship can handle directing together too.
We just kept pushing
the
to see
boundaries
like what we could get away with
before we
before we tied
combust.
the knot.
And then
it
no, but
works.
I mean, in like all seriousness, we have like basically the same sensibilities, and we work very, very well together. And it's just fun to work together. So why do something less fun?
Yeah, that's how it started.
Yeah.
And now we're just like in a groove.
Yeah.
So we enjoy it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And The Wrath of Becky is a sequel to 2020's Becky. How did you two get to be the writers and the directors for this already established character?
We're friends with the producers over at Boulder Light, and they came to us and they're like, do you want to just do a sequel to Becky? We don't have a script, we need it really quickly, and we're going to shoot it really quickly too. Low budget, all that stuff. And we were like, yeah, okay, that sounds fun. And that's kind of it. I mean, we're friends with Lulu Wilson before. We were neighbors with her, and then Matt's dad had worked with her, so she'd been in our circle for a while, and who doesn't love Lulu Wilson? And we were neighbors when she was shooting the first Becky, so we were aware of it. And it's just, I mean, a girl running around killing douchebags, like you're gonna say yes. That's, and then
Kill Bill's one of my favorite movies of all time, both of them. So I was like, I want to make a revenge film with a 16-year-old Kill Bill.
Yeah,
that sounds fun.
Yeah, and we're writer directors, so if they're gonna ask us to write,
they asked us to come on and do both. That was kind of it. And we had known the team at Boulder Light for a while, and we were just trying to find something that like made sense for us to do together with them.
That's really cool. Did you get to work with Lulu at all during the writing process because she did already establish the character?
Yes.
Yeah. Once we broke the story and jumped into the script, we had 3.5 weeks to write it. So it was very much like, as we're writing, going, hey, this is kind of what we're thinking. This is where we think she's at. This is the time that has passed. This is what we think happened. Like, how do you feel about these things? Lulu is very engaged. She will tell you she loves this character like more than any character she's ever played. She feels like she is Becky in so many ways, like energetically.
Yeah.
We would agree with that.
Yeah.
She's got that fun feistiness. Lulu is
she's
just a blast.
She's the best.
And she would send us songs from like a Becky playlist that she had created and was continuing to just kind of like develop once she heard they wanted to do a sequel. And so I would write to some of that music in addition to the score from the first film, just to really kind of like embody a combination of not forgetting the seeds that were planted in Carrie and John's Becky, and simultaneously wanting to make sure I was doing Lulu justice with that character as I was putting her on the page.
Because 13 to 16 is like, I was a different person when
13 to 16 is like 20 to 30. Like, that's what it feels like. It was like it's a very significant truncated time that we're like a shit ton.
You live a whole life in those 3 years. So
that was important. I remember the original question, but that's
I don't know, but you did a good job.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you for that. the playlist that she gave you, do you remember what some of the songs were?
Shit, no, but
Terrible.
but
terrible with
she would probably like make it public for sure. I feel like
She should,
she
actually.
should. Yeah, we can follow up.
They should do
because
something like that. That'd be fun.
It's yeah, it's a great playlist.
They should release like a
Lulu's playlist.
Becky's playlist type thing.
Yeah.
Make it Lulu selected songs. That would be
Because it's just that's what it was.
We're gonna follow up on this.
Yeah, let me just make a note.
I would definitely follow that playlist for sure.
Who's actually making a note?
Lulu playlist. There.
I wasn't expecting some of the visuals and how gruesome they were, to be honest. How did you come up with the gruesome ways that the bad guys were taken out? And did Lulu have a say in any of that?
Well, pretty much the way we'd come up with it is like, what's the most disturbing? Like, it has to be, like, look, she's 16 years old in a bright red jumpsuit running around this farm, this like land, it's not a farm, but killing people in broad daylight. Like she doesn't like guns, they're boring. So right then you go, okay, what's at her disposal? What's in the barn? What's it like? What can she use to kill people with? And then you kind of go from there.
You kind of back into like your setting. You back into like, what would Elena have at the house that she's living in the first act? And then once she gets there, how do you up that? What would they have? What would be natural things that exist on that land? Also, once you get into prep and you're going and scouting and you pick your location and you see something and you go, oh yeah, what if she uses that? Because we have it at our disposal. That's cool. But there was also a lot of, you write a scene, the producers go, what the hell are you thinking? We can't afford that. And so you think of something else and then they read it and they go, that's more expensive, Matt. And you're like, well, I mean, it's funnier though.
Expensive or more expensive?
There was a lot of that. Yeah. There was a lot of like, that's
crazy.
Worse than the first time, but I guess it's so fun, we'll figure it out. And I was like, okay, cool.
No, I mean, this movie only exists because literally everyone was so game. Like it's a very low budget movie for what it is, and
incredibly ambitious. It was working with a group of people like the guys at Boulder Light and Post and Quiver, allowing all of us to have. It was a playground.
Yeah,
like it really was.
Everyone just wanted to do everything they could to put every cent on screen, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
You definitely would not be able to tell that it was a low budget film.
Yay!
So, good.
In the director's statement, you make the comment that you wanted to subvert expectations and you wanted to make Becky a symbolic force or a vigilante, hell-bent on destroying some of the darkness we see in the headlines today. Can you just explain a little bit about what you meant by that, and then how you went to approach doing that?
Yeah, I think like personally, I'm not advocating for murder, of course, but it'd be great. Like, can you imagine if we lived in a world where Becky existed? That would be kind of cool. We have
no different than wanting
Batman to exist. Well, like, but Becky's cooler than Batman.
No, but I just mean like vigilante. Like, people want vigilantes.
Like, but like we live in such a weird, terribly disturbing world and time right now where it would be great if Becky existed.
Yeah, I think she is. We always say she's the Becky we all deserve. Like she's it's a dark time. There's no denying that Noble Men is a play on a little something we all know as Proud Boys. So it is very much ripped from the headlines. And in terms of your question about how did we go about doing that, we actually did go on message boards and just read as research. The first day we were breaking the story, JD, one of the producers, said, what if we explore this idea of incels? And that sent us down the rabbit hole of these message boards, which then kind of spiraled into, okay, let's do a play on Proud Boys. And I said, what if they're called, like, I pulled it out of my ass. I was like, I don't know, like Noble Men. And I was waiting for someone to say that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And no one said that. So I put it on the page and I expected that note would come at some point, and that note never
Yeah.
came. And here we are, and the movie comes out in a week and a half. And
We
they're
can
called
still
Bonobo.
change it.
So we went about it by looking at, unfortunately, what's very easily accessible on the internet and highly disturbing, which made it very clear to us the satirical tone that we wanted to target, and then kind of executing that in a way that you have to have the satire, you have to have grounded characters, but you have to like make it satirical so it's entertaining and not incredibly disturbing and depressing. And so, yeah, I think that's what we meant by that. We're at a time where there's a lot of evil in the headlines, and there's a lot of fucked up people. And what if there was a vigilante in the form of a 16-year-old girl who was taking him on?
Thank you for that.
Mhm.
If Becky was real, what would her bat signal be?
Oh, I don't know if she, oh yeah. That's a great question.
I mean, if you ask fans of the first film, it's going to be the beanie.
No, like her bat signal. Like what do people?
No, I know.
Oh,
I know.
I have a better answer. You haven't even finished, but mine's already better.
Yeah.
I think she would just give her number out to people and be like, fucking call me.
Just
call
be
me.
her cell number in the
Yeah,
sky.
yeah. Or just like there would be like it'd be something like so lo-fi, like stapled like flyers on telephone poles.
I
Like,
think she doesn't need a bad signal.
Douchebag need to be
She
killed?
just-
Question mark.
She just shows up.
Call 818
She just knows.
818 Becky.
You're sticking with the phone. I
Mine's
like
still
just like
way
saying
better.
something. I said she shows up.
But yeah, that's no bat signal.
No,
So
she
you're-
doesn't need a bad signal.
Okay.
I can't
Yeah.
use that cut.
About the whole film, I was very worried for Diego.
Oh, good.
Good.
I am very much, if the dog dies, I riot kind of viewer. So what was it like writing a dog like in this situation and then working with the dog actor?
Okay, I will answer that because when I watched John Wick for the first time, and I know how movies are made, okay?
She didn't watch it. She heard it.
I heard it and then
I was watching it.
I made him rewind to that.
No. You went
fucking
upstairs
puppy.
and watched the YouTube. clip.
Yes.
She was like, I can't watch this. And then she came down and she was like, I watched it on YouTube. And I was like, what are you doing?
Okay, because and I was pregnant too, so that didn't help. But honestly, it doesn't matter if I was pregnant. Like I was so upset. And so I said, we need Diego back in this movie. Obviously, he's an icon, and we'll make it seem like he's gonna die, but I will not, like my life would be over if my dog died.
Look, I will say this. Diego is a massive driving force behind what she's doing here because she's trying to save
It's
her
her
dog.
only family left.
But we intentionally, and I won't say it because I don't know when this interview comes out, there's also something far more significant that happens in this film that is her number one driving force. That is not just a rescue mission, but revenge.
Yeah.
And so it would be, I would be remiss if I didn't say that like that is it's important that is like the key revenge storyline here. Because it's about, this in this franchise, Becky's traumas, she's lost so many people that she loves.
Yeah. Working with Diego.
But the dog was very important to the story because it needed to be something that we could carry through. And
Diego.
I'm like Pac, that's
Yeah.
the name of the real dog.
Yeah.
Diego is the dog, is the sole survivor from the first film that is her only living loved one from the first film. Working with Pac, right?
Yeah, Pac.
I'm like Pac? No, it's Pac.
It's Pac. It's the cutest
The
dog
cutest
you've
thing
ever seen
in the
your life.
world. He was like 9 months or
Yeah, he's a puppy. And there's this like one scene where he's supposed to be really aggressive, and we had to angle the camera in such a way because his tail was just like he was so happy. You can still kind of see
the shadow on the wall in
because
this
he's
scene
so cute.
where he's really angry and growling, and it's all sound design in post. There's no growling happening. And we had to angle him so you couldn't see his tail, but if you look on the wall, his tail's just like going like this.
This is the sweetest. And you had to like, when he came on set, everyone had to be really quiet because he was so sweet that if you give him like a little bit of love, it's just like just a puppy party.
Yeah, it was very fun to have him on set. It's always stressful working with animals because
but he was a doll.
It takes time, and that's the one thing you don't have when you're making movies. But there was no greater dog to have there.
Yeah.
So
I love that so much.
He has an Instagram, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pop
really?
I like to
person.
plug this because
Yeah.
he deserves followers.
'Cause he does.
He has
Sure.
birthday
He's the
parties
true
every
star,
year.
yeah.
You both mentioned things that really resonated with me in your response. The John Wick franchise, that was the first thing I thought of.
Mhm.
But also you specifically said the word franchise. So is there a plan to turn Becky into a franchise?
We'd love to.
There's
Talks.
rumblings. Is that what they call
Sure,
them?
talks.
There's talks.
Yeah.
There's we can tell you that a lot of people involved
Would love to.
would love to. We would love to be involved moving forward. We have a lot of ideas
Yeah.
for another chapter. And what we will say is that there's a lot that happens in number 2 that is not by mistake. And there are a lot of clues that are very specific
To how we would do a number 3.
if you're paying attention to like what number 3 would be about.
Oh, interesting.
Easter egg.
To rewatch it and look for some of those.
Yeah.
I'm,
Do it.
I'm shocked no one has like caught on. I'm not gonna say it, but I'm just shocked. Might happen.
Maybe they're too Easter eggy.
No, it's a good Reddit discussion. Maybe it'll happen when the movie comes out.
I hope so. I hope so. That would be a good discussion to get in on.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm about at time. So thank you both for chatting. Again, I love the movie. I am hoping for a third one.
Okay.
But yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Beth.
Bye.
Bye.